Next on Good Taste, hold on to your popcorn. This charming hill country farmhouse is home to one of the most iconic horror flicks of all time.
We have people come from all over the world to see it.
And some seriously tasty steaks and seafood. Plus, sink your teeth into some of the Texas Plains' juiciest barbecue from a courageous couple whose barbecue dreams were almost cut short. Bite into a giant taste of the Big Apple. See why folks from all over the world come to the Bayou City for what's been called one of the best delis in America. Good Taste starts right now. Hi everyone, welcome to Good Taste. I'm Tanji Patton. We love exploring the Texas Hill Country. So many charming spots to uncover. We found a fantastic restaurant, a spot where one of the most popular horror movies of all time was made, right here. Cozy up at this quaint country farmhouse for a pleasing plate of upscale Texas eats at Grand Central Cafe in Kingsland.
I love this place.
It really takes you back in time a little bit.
This place oozes charm with its wraparound porch in Victorian feel. This historic cafe is set at a one-time whistle stop at the junction of the Austin and Northwestern Railroad lines, right across from the historic Antlers Inn. The specialty here, thick, juicy, hand-cut steaks and sizzling fresh seafood.
It's a great place to have a special event or just a date night.
This charming hill country find also harbors an iconic piece of Hollywood horror film history.
It was the film set for the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre that was filmed back in 1973.
At the time they made the horror flick, the house was in Round Rock.
They cut it up into 7 different pieces and hauled it 70 miles and put it all back together here.
Now, granted, it's been spruced up with new paint and whatnot, but architecturally, when you come here, you might recognize it from the movie, right?
Exactly.
The home was beautifully restored and transformed into a restaurant. Rick and Drew purchased it a few years ago and are happy to give movie fans the grand tour.
Yes, a lot of people recognize the banister to the staircase and the door to the original kitchen.
We have people come from all over the world to see it.
Oh, I bet. And the room upstairs?
Grandpa's room.
Now, Leatherface only comes out just for fun, and the only slashing going on here is in the kitchen.
I'm not a big chicken fried steak eater. I only get it here.
The chicken fried steak is something to rave about. Crispy and delicious with its creamy gravy. But so is the fire-grilled chicken breast with a silky Chardonnay sauce, topped with sautéed mushrooms. They add a little sizzle to their spinach salad by lightly sautéing the greens with a drizzle of raspberry bacon dressing. Then layering it up with crispy carrots, black olives, bacon crumbles, and feta cheese. Worth a mention, the whiskey shrimp dip, made with cream cheese and plump Gulf shrimp, marinated in sweet whiskey, served with toasted crostinis. So delicious.
I never miss a Sunday brunch here, and I don't even live here.
Yeah, it's worth the drive with brunch favorites like the Philly Benedict with 2 perfectly poached eggs, perched on a bed of Philly beefsteak, grilled with peppers and onions, smothered with melted provolone, stacked on a flaky croissant, all drenched with homemade hollandaise sauce. Another brunch specialty, the Bloody Massacre, kind of a fire on ice.
Oh, my. Yeah.
Really, really hot.
man.
Would you like some water?
I mean, if it doesn't have spice, then it's not a real Bloody Mary.
So how did you guys get in the restaurant business?
I frequented a coffee shop where I went to school almost every day and would sit there and study and think about how much fun it would be to own one.
Because that's not what you studied in school.
No, I studied earth sciences.
Well.
Drew and Rick opened a coffee shop first, the very popular Kingsland Coffee, and then purchase the restaurant and the
Antlers Inn.
Their recipe research started with eating out.
When we order something, we say, well, this was really good, but I think we could make it a whole lot better.
And so we learned a lot from our moms.
Like the funnest kind of research on the planet, right?
It is. It's a lot of fun to make food because then you get to taste it.
That's exactly right.
And share it.
Now to a little recipe research of our own with one of Grand Central's most popular appetizers, the pan-seared ahi tuna.
We're going to season it with our house mix.
What's in your house
seasoning?
mix?
It's oregano, salt, onion powder, garlic powder, red pepper flakes.
It's seared in butter in a smoking hot pan.
You don't want that to cook all the way through, right?
Absolutely not. You want it to be nice and rare in the center.
Josh slices it thin and adds a side of homemade teriyaki sauce. It's garnished with soy aioli teriyaki paste and lemon zest.
The tomatoes, we're just going to drop in the fryer.
You're going to do what?
We're going to fry the tomatoes. I know, yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Quick way to intensify that flavor.
Oh, yeah. You got it going on. That's awesome.
Yep, they've got a lot going on at Grand Central Cafe, so come give it a try. You might just decide to hang around a while.
Pretty special for our little town.
It's so good. It's perfect.
Coming up, sky-high stacked sandwiches and heavenly Hungarian goulash from a real deal New York deli, smack dab in the middle of H-Town.
It's the best deli in the whole country.
But next, bring on the brisket, juicy ribs too, from a hardworking couple pulling lots of all-nighters to bring you Lubbock's best barbecue.
The barbecue tells us when to go home.
We'll be right back.
Good things come from Cisco.
Welcome back, everyone. We travel the state in search of Texas' best. Barbecue is one of our favorites. Wait till you see what we discovered in West Texas in a tiny little shack. On the high plains of West Texas, just on the outskirts of Lubbock, sits a tiny barbecue shack with a big story. This barbecue tale begins with juicy, mouth-watering brisket. Texas Monthly called it some of the best in town.
Wow, that is fork tender.
A real page-turner with tender turkey. Meaty, lip-smacking ribs, dry-rubbed and drenched in house-made sauces.
Oh, that's good.
And tasty, creative, scratch-made sides, like baked potato salad.
Because it's so unusual. It's not like something you get all the time.
The entire family is welcome at this little roadside barbecue joint, aptly named The Shack.
It's down home, just the way it needs to be.
Oh, I love the Shack.
You stay awake most of the night and watch them.
Yep, we got to babysit them.
Exactly, the kids.
It's actually part 2 of this story that gives this barbecue hangout so much heart.
So you're kind of co-pit masters.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I wouldn't call myself a pit master.
Oh, you wouldn't?
I know how to throw wood on the fire, but.
Yeah. I was sick one day and she held it down pretty good. So.
See, there you go.
Both were crazy long hours, often spending the night at the shack. They're used to taking orders from the queue.
The barbecue tells us when to go home.
Kyle and Kelly met and fell in love while working at a different restaurant.
Yeah, you gotta let the relationship build before you decide to open a restaurant with somebody. So.
Yeah, that
Especially if you're gonna spend a million hours together.
Their backyard barbecue was so good, they jumped on an opportunity to take over an old restaurant and start their own. But their barbecue dreams almost didn't come true.
Kyle, you were in a serious accident, right?
It was actually right out in front of the restaurant.
Kyle was involved in a horrific motorcycle accident.
It was a rough one, and I was in a chemically induced coma for about 2 weeks, and I was in the hospital over a month. I was in a wheelchair till Thanksgiving.
Hard to believe from these pictures, but 6 months later, Kyle was back on his feet, rekindling that barbecue dream.
We were painting walls later
Yeah, we
that
were
day.
painting walls. And
Did that make you more determined, knowing this was your dream to get this place going? Or was it more motivating because you have this awesome wife?
it was tough. I'm not gonna lie. You know, you're coming out of being basically demolished and then standing on your feet for 12 hours a day, and we figured, you know, if we pass it up, we may not have another opportunity for a while. So that was a lot of our determining factors of getting it going so quickly after the accident.
And get it going, they did, making sure to follow one important rule.
We try to make everything in-house, try to be fresh about all of our cooks. We cook fresh daily.
You can get their juicy brisket by the whole or half pound with a choice of delicious house-made sides.
I like that.
I either get mac and cheese or potato salad.
The Shack's mac and cheese, served here with the tasty smoked turkey, is Kyle's own recipe. Made from a roux mixed with fresh grated sharp cheddar and cream cheese.
We cook about 5 gallons a day.
And it
or
goes?
more. It goes quick, quick, quick.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That mac and cheese goes great with the Shack's thick and juicy 1-pound bone-in pork chop, rubbed with salt, pepper, garlic, and dry mustard, then smoked to perfection. Also served here with a side of sweet and smoky baked beans.
Good. Nice and peppery.
Kelly also makes killer desserts like the yummy banana pudding and a delicious, crowd-pleasing apple pie cheesecake. You'll want to make that one at home.
We usually call ahead to make sure that they have meat though.
A good rule of thumb because they do sell out.
It depends on how popular it is that day, but when it's gone, it's gone.
I trim a lot of fat off, so when we go to serve it, you just gotta cut it and go. We don't trim it all off, but we make it to where, you know, you want a good maybe 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch of fat cap.
Kyle uses a simple rub of kosher salt, coarse black pepper, and granulated garlic.
I like to do sides first. If you pick it up and it just creates a pile, then you got too much. So whatever sticks on there is about what you need on there. This one's on. These have been on already a couple hours, and you can already see they're starting to tighten up and get a good redness to them. So that's going to be your smoke ring developing.
That brisket gets smoked 12 to 14 hours at 280 degrees.
That is good. Wow. And I may still keep eating it. It is good.
Hey, this is all yours. You gotta take it home.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You're on.
You'll want to take some home from the Shack, too.
Cheers to the West Texas wind and great barbecue.
Cheers.
We love it.
Best barbecue that you can have in Lubbock, Texas.
I can't wait for you to see my fun new wine finds. They're coming up. But next.
Treat yourself to real New York cheesecakes and killer homemade cabbage rolls, all from Houston's top deli. Here, everything is bigger and better.
This is the Zeligebetsky, the sandwich that's bigger than its name.
Goodtaste will be right back. Goodtaste with Tanji is brought to you in part by H-E-B. That's Ziggy Gruber.
I mean, you don't know what you're missing.
He's larger than life.
You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. The one thing about Jewish cooking is it's peasant food and it's simplistic.
But he's simply known as the Deli Man.
Well, it's one of our favorite places to eat deli.
Serving up authentic, old-world deli dining in the Bayou City at Kenny and Ziggy's.
Well, I think it's the best deli in the whole country.
It's like better than any New York deli that I've eaten in, and I've eaten in New York delis.
Want some? This is awesome.
This is the Zeligebetsky, the sandwich that's bigger than its name.
It's big, all right. Named for Ziggy's memory of the Yiddish folktales his grandfather told. 8 layers of Russian dressing, coleslaw, Swiss cheese, beef tongue, turkey pastrami, salami, roast beef, pastrami, corned beef, and sweet red peppers, all sandwiched on house-made, double-baked rye bread.
Who would we know that's eaten one of these?
Shaquille O'Neal has eaten 2 of these at one sitting. Are you eating that good? All righty.
You'll find lots of traditional family favorites here.
Try the mishmash soup. It's great.
So is their smoked salmon, flown in daily, and fresh corned beef.
And we go through about 20 to 30 beefs a day.
Ziggy used the same method he learned from his grandfather.
who opened the first deli on Broadway in New York City. Don't miss the delectable desserts, baked fresh every day. It's all served with heaping helpings of love.
I'm third generation in the delicatessen restaurant business. I fell in love with it because it was a family affair. My grandfather, who I loved and adored, I saw him every day at the store. And at 8 years old, he threw an apron at me and he says, "It's time for you to make a living." I've been cooking in the kitchen ever since.
What role do you think fate has played in your life? You have such a fascinating history.
Well, you know, my grandfather basically came here because of persecution. He rode his bike from Budapest all the way to Le Havre, France, and came over here. I'm lucky that future generations are here because of him and doing that. He was such a loving, wonderful man.
Houston is a long way from New York City, but skyrocketing rents in Times Square are what led Ziggy's friend to suggest a new adventure.
We got a phone call from a gentleman named Lenny Friedman who had a son named Kenny. Lenny was a kid from the Bronx who was a real estate developer. He had a son that wanted to go in the deli business. Me and Lenny shook hands, and the rest is history.
The Bayou City made a real impression on Ziggy.
The people here were the salt of the earth. And I said to myself, this is a fantastic city. And I could see 20 years down the road at the time when we opened the store that this area is going to get better and better and better.
All right, enjoy.
They make stuff here that my grandmother used to make.
Ziggy's Hungarian goulash is loaded with tender beef, stewed in a rich and savory tomato sauce, with paprika, garlic, onions, celery, and carrots, served over homemade egg noodles. This Romanian steak is a 24-ounce grilled gem, marinated in olive oil, onions, and garlic for 2 days. Then char-broiled over an open flame, served alongside a noodle kugel. I loved the giant stuffed cabbage, a nod to home-style Hungarian flavors. Seasoned beef, veal, rice, and garlic are rolled in savory cabbage leaves, then braised in a sumptuous sweet and sour tomato sauce.
If anyone would leave my restaurant and they were still hungry, I would never forgive myself.
But make sure to save room for those heavenly blentzes.
It took me 20 years to get this recipe down perfect.
So the key to start with is the right batter, right?
You need this. Now, that's what the secret is, because you want it really paper thin. See? Yeah. Look how beautiful that is. Gorgeous.
These coveted crepes are filled with a sweet blend of farmer's cheese, vanilla, sugar, and a squeeze of lemon juice. Then the folding begins.
Don't be bashful. Now do it not all the way, halfway.
Oh, okay.
And do one like that, do the other one.
And then the final fold.
Right.
And voila, it's a little bit of a square.
You just got to roll it a little bit better, see?
Oh, okay, so it was the rolling action I missed.
See, look how beautiful her blintz is.
I love it.
Dressed to impress with berries and powdered sugar.
Mmm. Mmm. Oh, these are so good.
They are delicious. My grandfather was everything to me, and I hope he looks down and he says, you know, you're doing it right, and you're doing a good job, not just in business, but the way I conduct my life in general.
It doesn't get any bigger or better than Kenny and Ziggy's.
It's just a great place to hang out and just have a good time.
And every time we come to Houston, the first place we come as soon as we get off the airplane is right here, Kenny and Ziggy's.
Time for my wine finds. Exploring the wines on these shelves is kind of like a spa getaway for me. I love it, and I always learn a lot. So, let me help you relax. Up first, Chardonnay fans, you're going to love Complicated. Wine critics are loving it too. It's a Sonoma Chardonnay, so you'll get the bright fruit flavors of apples, peaches, and pears. This is not a Butterbomb Chardonnay. It's beautifully balanced, and it's an incredible value at $17.98 a bottle. Put this one on your Easter list. Complicated. Okay, up next, It's beginning to feel a lot like rosé time. This is the time of year the new vintages traditionally are released, and I'm loving the Aix-en-Provence. Aix-en-Provence is a charming village in the south of France, and this wine is classic Provence. Picture yourself on a beach in the French Riviera. This is likely the wine you'd be drinking. The Aix-en-Provence is $19.98 a bottle. All right, last but not least, we've got something for big red wine fans. A beautiful, luscious Zinfandel. This is from a very well-respected winemaker, Nick Goldschmidt. It's called Fidelity. The wine comes from the Alexander Valley region in Sonoma. It is luscious with flavors of blackberries, boysenberries, and vanilla. This wine goes great with anything from your grill, and it's also very sippable solo. The Fidelity Zinfandel, about $20 a bottle. As always, I found all my wines right here at H-E-B. Keep your seat. Find out how you could win a relaxing weekend at the beautiful Houstonian Hotel and Spa. Sign up right now at Goodtaste.tv for a chance to win a luxurious weekend at the Houstonian Hotel. Follow us on Facebook at Good Taste with Tanji and on Twitter and Instagram at Tanji Patton. If you missed any of today's show, you can always catch us online at Goodtaste.tv. That's where we have all the Cheers to good taste.